People who were about to commit suicide. What changed your mind? My mom knocked and asked if I needed anything. But that just made me realize that it'd be cruel to leave her. Edit. Thank you for the award. I truly hope everyone is in a better mental state now. The realization that if I was going to kill myself, I could do anything and everything I ever wanted to with no consequences. If I'm going to die, then why not do the things I always wanted to first? Now I love my life every day to the fullest because there's not enough time to do everything I want to. I had an elderly cat who had feline dementia. She would cry whenever she couldn't find me, and I honestly didn't want her to live the last few months of her life scared and alone, so I stayed. She passed away a week after my 19th birthday. I think she was staying to make sure I was okay if she left. I really miss her. I had her since I was 2, but I'm okay now and I'm going to university and live in the same dorm as my cousin who I grew up with. My cat came and gave me some love. It's like she knew I desperately needed it in that moment. Life and death are the same thing, equals hurtling forwards into the unknown. To kill oneself is to trust death more than life. If you can trust death that much, then you can trust life that much. What changed my mind? In the moment I thought about my mom and how it would have killed her. Ever since then the only reason I haven't ended it all is my mom. I would hate for her to get that phone call and have to go through all of the trauma and trouble it would bring. That's my reason, my mom. My dad come out of nowhere when I was about to jump. Scooped me up from behind and scared the hell out of me. I hit an artery and blood was everywhere. Looked like a murder scene. I sat against the wall waiting to bleed out until I thought of my niece and how devastated she would be because we are very close and she has gone through enough. She didn't need that. The song Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas, if it had not played on my, now dead, local rock station back in 2002, I would not be here to read or reply to this post. As I was preparing the rope I got a call from someone I served with just checking in after years. I realized I was going to die alone, so I called the cops instead, hoping someone would talk to me because I didn't want to be lonely. Off they came and took me to the hospital. Almost 2 years later, with a lot of therapy, medication and a shift of the people around me, my mental state has reached a place of pure bliss and peace, and I haven't thought of suicide for a long time. It gets better. I'm glad I made that call. When I was beginning to feel the effects of dying, my so came in and was fighting to save me. He was crying and his face is what made me change my mind. His face was of pure fear. I wanted death but my family didn't. I told myself if I live from this, I will live. My best friend messaging me pleading me not to because he loves me, and then proceeding to stay up texting me for 4 hours to distract me. That was on Monday and I am so grateful he convinced me to stay hot. Not about to commit suicide, but suicidal most of my teen and adult life. Then the ocean almost swallowed me whole when I was snorkeling, and I actually almost died, and realized no, this is not what I want. No real idea. I have been at the point on many occasions and I have absolutely no idea why I am still here. Easily distracted, I guess. Got really drunk, pulled the trigger and had forgotten to chamber around. Glad I didn't, and have managed to make some peace with myself regarding the why of it. If you're in a bad spot, talk to someone. It really does help, and taking your own life only hurts everyone else around you. I didn't want my family to see my dead body. I really fucking wanted to die, but I just couldn't do it. I became obsessed with suicide and watched many videos and researched on it. I learned that most people who jumped the Golden Gate Bridge and lived recalled the instant regret. And not because of the pain, but because they truly did not want to die, and they realized their pain was temporary. So that changed my perspective a bit. I still think about it though. I tried several times but I just won't die. Gave up trying. It was even more depressing knowing I failed to even kill myself. That's probably not the best answer, but it's why I'm still alive today. My little brother. I was about to hang myself but I remembered that I have to take care of this little prick and my death would destroy him. Just couldn't handle thinking about that and I gave up. Decided I hated myself too much, death was the easy way out and I didn't even deserve that. Wasn't much but it was a starting point for recovery. My 3-year-old finding me, calling my husband and saying mommy won't wake up. or by the time any of them coming home and finding me, has been the only reason for years I keep going. It gets hard, but I'd rather die knowing with my kids knowing I loved them and they did nothing wrong to cause me to do it. I have to try a couple more things and my friend saying, man, this shit ain't worth it. Think about it, you haven't gone to anywhere. Funeral would be a massive financial burden on my family, and even though I'd rather just be unceremoniously dumped in the ocean or a landfill somewhere, I know they'd still pay for one anyway. My best friend was also super depressed and I don't wanna be his last straw. Also, I watched this movie called Suspect X, 2008, where the mother-daughter saved the protagonist from suicide without even knowing. They just tried to live their life well and the protagonist, their neighbor, was affected by the optimistic energy and ended up not killing himself. I know too many kids. And now I have my own kid. I wouldn't want to be the reason a child grows up with similar issues to mine. TBH, I had asked for more shifts the week before BC. I needed money. The night I was going to kill myself, it turns out that I was scheduled as the only busser/server/bartender for the entire restaurant for the next morning. I ended up not doing it so I wouldn't screw everyone else over. My friend stopped me before I could do it. Then he and 3 others watched over me all night until I sobered up and fell asleep. Then, the next morning, they walked me to the campus therapist to talk it out. Been in therapy since, and can't thank them enough for giving me my life back. Staying alive to see people I don't like live miserably and die before me. The little things. My GF at the TE came over right when I was about to do it. She ran into the bedroom and pulled the gun out of my mouth. Said she loved me and needed me. In hindsight, I would have hurt a lot less than what she did to me for the next 15 years. But we carry on. Nothing. I just couldn't follow through with it, so I figured things weren't really bad enough for me to kill myself. In retrospect, they weren't. Not even in the slightest. I tried hanging myself, but I didn't have anything to stand on, so I just kind of squatted until the noose got real tight. It hurt real bad and seemed like it was gonna take a real long time. I stood up and googled this method and it turns out many survive with brain damage, so I gave up. Realizing I would have no idea what would happen to my cats if I wasn't around. I'm here for them. All my attempts were stopped cause of it going wrong. One of them is using a bad rope to hang myself. I ended up hurting my legs instead cause of the fall. Was gonna blow my brains out, but the thought of leaving my sister alone with my crazy parents stopped me. We're each other's support systems. Having her in my life keeps me going. Glad I didn't do it. She's going through some health problems, mental and physical, some major anxiety mostly, which I have gone through myself few years ago, so I'm glad I'm here to keep her strong with my experience.